All right, hey, Amanda, guess what?
What?
Match fixing allegations are back, baby. So just last month in the IPL, that's India's premier cricket league, 4 suspected bookies were arrested from the Rajasthan Royals home stadium thanks to the anti-corruption unit of the Indian Cricket Board. Right? I know. Straight out of their luxury boxes at this Sawai Mansingh Stadium during the Royals Capitals match. All 4 suspects have been handed over to the police for questioning. Seriously.
Illegal gambling, man. It's alive and well.
It is.
And it's all over the world. And you just gotta love it and embrace it, I guess.
You do.
But what does gambling have to do with becoming more cultured and curious, Pete?
Not gambling. Cricket. I'm going to tell you what cricket has to do with being more cultured and curious. Because we got to learn to appreciate varying perspectives and values. That's why. We have to want to care to learn about other countries' histories and traditions. We have to have at least a modicum of self-awareness to know we aren't the only people on this planet that matter, selfish Americans. Did you know in 1994 when America hosted the FIFA World Cup soccer tournament, just 10% of Americans knew it was even happening in their own country? And today, not only do Americans know about soccer, 33% of Americans who follow the sport describe themselves as avid soccer fans. Avid.
But are they even fans? Because if they were, they'd call themselves football fans.
Did you just say football?
Football.
Football fans. Well, they say they're fans. My point is, it caught on. 3 decades after soccer's first big American outing, cricket is on its way to the world's biggest stage. In June 2024, people, the United States will jointly, with the West Indies, host the men's T20 Cricket World Cup. And around a third of the 55 matches will take place right here in the United States. The American team, as host, automatically qualifies for the tournament. Its first ever top-tier competition. And here's hoping it's a freaking coming out party for the Americans.
I mean, it's really the only reason why the U.S. would ever make it into a cricket tournament.
First of all, shut up. But second of all, that is
Not
totally
wrong.
true. That is totally true. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Sorta Sophisticated, a podcast rooted in becoming more cultured and curious, where we endeavor to suspend judgment, expand our worldview, and learn to appreciate varying perspectives and values.
But really, it's a show where we hope to enlighten anyone who cares on topics that might make them more interesting and well-versed humans, and just dangerous enough to hold their own in this sophisticated world. Sort of.
And today we'll be taking a beginner's crash course in all things cricket. Not like the insect that's known for good luck, people. I mean like the second most popular sport in the world.
And today we have a special guest. He's very fashionable, brilliant, and the best Aussie that I know. And he also owns this fabulous men's clothing line, and not only owns, designs the fabrics, which are mind-blowing.
Wait, you're the designer too? What? I'm wearing one of your design shirts right now? I didn't know that. That is amazing.
He just walked into the store and bought something, but
I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's
right
awesome.
Right here. So this is Mr. Evan Sturrock, aka
Well,
Joe
where did Joe
Bananas.
Bananas come from?
That's a long story. Not for this podcast. No. Thanks for having me on the show, guys. This is awesome.
It's good to have you, Ed.
Evan's going to school Peter today, and that's what I'm excited
That
for.
is why he's on the show, to make sure we do everything right. But more importantly, I also heard that Evan was the most famous all-star cricket player in Australia. Is that true, Amanda?
We're going to go with it because I know nothing
Yes.
about cricket.
Evan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
No,
that's
definitely
what I'm
not,
talking
guys.
about.
Definitely not.
No.
Love watching the game. Love watching the game.
All right. So you know enough to be dangerous, and you can correct me
Oh, absolutely.
when I screw stuff up. That's what you're going to do. All right, I love it. Okay, so Evan, funny story. Full disclosure. I've never played cricket because after all, I'm American. But I do watch it. Well, recently I watch it. So the other morning I'm running my dog in my neighborhood, and I ran by this park, and I saw a bunch of gentlemen playing cricket. So they've been doing this every Saturday morning for like the last few months. I haven't paid any attention, but I knew I was queuing up this episode. So
And I call bullshit.
Why do you call bullshit?
You did not see playing cricket in the park.
No,
by
they
your
do it
house.
they do it every Saturday morning, 7
No.
o'clock. Yes, they do.
I don't
Absolutely.
believe you.
Trust
we'll
me.
pretend.
I have ignored this for months. This is the first time I stopped because I knew I was going to do this episode. So I sit there, I'm watching for like 10 minutes, right? And I got my dog with me. And all of a sudden, this squirrel bolts like across the field, grabs one of the bales, and takes off with it in its mouth up a friggin' tree, right? So everybody's freaking out. All these guys are running over trying to figure out what to do. And I let my dog, I have a German short-haired pointer. She's 18 months old. I let my dog off the leash, and she goes batshit crazy for this squirrel and just chases the squirrel right at the tree, flying around, everything. The squirrel actually drops the bail. It actually works.
Instant
right?
dismissal.
It was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. So all these students are like, "Oh my God, you're a hero." Good news, bad news. Here's the problem with that whole story.
It's a lie.
It's not a lie. They got to start playing cricket again. I couldn't get my dog back on the leash for like a friggin' hour because she just kept running around the damn park. So it sucked. But anyway, it was
All right.
awesome.
So I'm going to play along with this because I still don't fully believe you. But either way, it's going to be an epic episode
How can I make that story up? That's a made up story.
because you're a story topper.
That
We've
is
been over this.
That is a dumb story to make up.
Fair enough. But I still have no clue what a bail and a wicket is. So let's see how this goes. And really, in all seriousness, I think it's the definition part of the episode because I'm going to guess most of our listeners have no idea either.
First of all, Evan knows what a bail and a wicket is. Second of all, there is no definition part of this episode. So I'm just going to tell you right now, the bail is the thing that you need to like get off the wicket to like get somebody out in cricket.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I just
Evan.
busted. Did you see that? I just busted a rhyme. A wicket to get out in cricket. I'm hysterical.
It's never been done before.
Yeah, I'm going to let Evan take
That was great.
this one. Evan, what is
What's a bail?
and
What's a bail and a wicket?
So the wickets are the 3 wooden sticks that you see at the end of the crease. And on top of those 3 sticks, there are 2 bails. And in order to get someone out, well, there's a couple of ways to get someone out, but to get them out, you've got to actually dislodge the bail from the wicket.
Super
So
technical.
all 5 of these pieces are free pieces. And you
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
stack them on top of each
smash
other.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
Got
Don't rain on my parade. I got this in here further. We'll let Evan get to this stuff. First of all, he also introduced something called a crease that nobody knows about, so we're gonna have to explain that too. All right, so listen up, people. I'm just gonna buzz through sort of cricket in 2 seconds or less, so everybody can understand it. We ready?
No, I need the word of the day.
Oh, the word of the day. I totally forgot the word of the day. Folderol.
What?
Folderol.
Does this go with the crease?
Our challenge is to work this word into the podcast somewhere and make it seem like we meant to.
Okay, definition, please.
Folderol. It's like nonsense talk, like the shit I do all the time. Most of what I say is full of folderol.
This should be called the Folderol podcast.
Just like that. So that doesn't count because it was too
Oh.
fast. But there you go. That's all we got to do. All right. So
Okay,
figure
fine.
out. You guys got to figure out how to work it in.
Okay, let's just jump in then. Okay.
All right.
I guess, guys, teach me all about
All right. Here we
cricket.
go. Ready? In 2 minutes or less. You got 2 sides. One out in the field and one in. Each man that's on the team that's in goes out, and when he's out, he comes back in, and the next man goes in until he's out. When a man goes out to go in, the men who are out try to get him out, and when they go out, he goes back in. Are you following me so far?
I don't even know what the heck is happening.
Relax, it gets easier. When they're
Sure.
all out, the side that's out comes in, and the side that's been in goes out and tries to get all those coming in out. Then there are men called umpires who stay out all the time and decide when the men who are in are out. And depending on weather conditions, the umpires can also send everybody in, no matter if they're in or out. And finally, when both sides have been in and all the men are out, the game's over.
Okay, Evan, did you even understand anything he just said? Because it sounds like nonsense.
Not a single thing. That's complete Folderol.
That was so easy. All right, first of all, he's on every podcast. Okay. Listen, that's like that. I got that. I Googled that crap, right? I guess cricket people.
Mate,
think
you
that's
confuse
funny.
me.
Cricket people think that's funny. I don't know. It's.
Or confusing,
I just.
clearly.
I just.
Okay.
All right,
Brilliant.
relax.
Genius.
I know. All right. Whatever.
Okay, so give me the real then.
The real on cricket.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to give you the real. Evan, jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. Cricket is a bat and ball game. It's like baseball. So it's played between 2 teams consisting of 11 players each on this oval-shaped field with a pitch in the middle. The pitch is sort of like the smaller space where like the batter and the let's call it the batter and the pitcher, but we're going to fix that later, like where they stand and do their work. It's super popular in countries like India, England, Australia, Pakistan, and like a bunch of others. So here are the basics. First, the whole objective of the game is to score more runs than the opposing team.
That tracks because you said it's like baseball. So I got that.
Absolutely. And you do this by hitting the ball with a bat and running between 2 sets of wickets about 60 feet apart from each other. Am I right, Evan?
About that.
Okay.
All right. But the wickets are the 3 sticky things.
Don't ask me, ask Evan.
Okay, got
the
it.
The 3 sticky things. Yes.
With
All right.
something on top.
Yeah. And the whole idea is that the defensive team has to knock these bails off the, I guess, stumps. Like the whole thing's called a wicket, but the bails got to get knocked off the stumps so they get them out. That's the defensive team's job.
Okay. So then when do I swing? Because I'm starting to get the idea this is going to be a very bad podcast episode because No one can see what you're talking about.
That's fine. Just Google that shit. It'll be absolutely fine. Right? Go online, people. Google the image. All right?
Fair enough.
Simple enough. All right. Anyway, then you have like the playing equipment. You got a bat, right? Used by the batsmen. We don't call them batters. They're batsmen to hit the ball. You got a ball, same as like a baseball, right?
It's kind of like
It's
really not.
What do we got?
And in fact, Pete, I've brought something here.
You brought a ball?
I've got a gift.
You got a gift.
Can you catch?
Let's go. Let's see it. Oh my God. All right, Amanda, I am looking at a signed cricket ball by the most famous cricket Aussie player in the world, Evan Sturrock.
It is definitely not signed by
this
the
is
most
fantastic.
famous
Okay.
cricket player in the world. Let's get that clear.
For all of you playing along at home, it's not like a baseball. It's like a pool ball, kind of like a billiards.
It looks
ball.
like a bocce ball.
It's a smaller version of a bocce ball. It feels like a billiards ball, but it's the size of a baseball.
So it's hard as shit.
So there you go, people. Now you understand. That was awesome.
Mate,
Do I get to keep this?
Yeah, absolutely. That's yours.
Oh,
signed.
Thank you. I love it. All right. And then we got the wickets. We already talked about the wickets, so I'm bored of that already. Okay, then there's the fielding team. If you're thinking about baseball, that's the one in the outfield. And they position players anywhere around the field, with one player designated as the bowler and another player as the wicket keeper.
Is that the pitcher or the catcher?
That's the catcher.
Wicket keeper's catcher?
Wicket keeper is the catcher.
Bowler is the
bowler.
The bowler. Pitcher.
Yeah.
Baseball pitcher?
Pitcher, and
Got
then
it.
you get catcher or wiki.
We
just call him the wiki.
The
It's
wiki.
like a wiki, but it's a wiki.
I like the wiki. All right, and
Wait,
then the people in the
catcher
field.
is the wicker,
The catcher's the wiki.
Yes.
As we
and the
just said.
pitcher is the bowler.
You got it.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then the people in the field, they go anywhere in the
Fielders.
field. Where do they go?
Fielders. They can go. They can go anywhere. They tend to have a designated spot, usually directed by the captain or the bowler.
And is that all based on like film that they watch from like
There's
the
a
other
lot
team?
of lot of strategy.
Yeah.
As to why they're where they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, got it. So they know exactly where they're going and what they're doing
Yeah.
with each
Yeah.
batter,
Mhm.
with each batsman.
Each batsman, every single bowl.
I got you. All right. Then you got the phases of play. So for bowling, you got the bowler, and his job is to chuck the ball in an incredibly strange motion right at the batsman's legs at the opposite end of the pitch, basically trying to snap this guy's legs in half so he can get the better out.
I'm just gonna say, guys, before we get too much farther into this
What?
episode, you say bowler, I think bowling, but we're not talking about balls and pins. We're talking about cricket, so I'm just screwed. So just laying that out there, okay?
Just think of it. Think of baseball. It's more like baseball but they just call them bowlers instead of pitchers. That's it. That's
Got it.
the only similarity to bowling. I don't want bowling to, well, I guess, yeah, they're 60 feet away, the pins. But anyway, you get the idea. Think baseball, don't think bowling. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Then it's the batsman's turn. He's got two jobs. The first one is easy. It's just try not to die. Okay? The second one is to try to hit the missile coming at him like at 100 miles an hour and to score a run. And runs are scored by either running between the wickets or hitting the ball to the boundaries. We'll get into that in a second. And then finally, there's the fielding. The fielding team's whole job is to prevent the batter from scoring runs by trying to get them out through various means.
So how else do you get them out besides knocking a ball off a wicket and trying to break their legs?
Okay, there's like 100 ways. Evan, don't get all technical on me and give me like all 800 ways to get someone out. We're going through the simple ones for my American friends.
I'm
Okay?
Australian, so I'll keep it super simple. Trust me.
Yeah, thank you. All right, and first of all, they don't call it out, Amanda. They call it being dismissed. For those of you following along at home, that's the sophisticated word in cricket for getting called out. You're dismissed. So civilized. And now, you're more sophisticated. You're welcome.
Or just sorta.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. All right, anyway, here are the basics. So number one, you can be bowled out. The ball hits the stumps, knocks over the bails, like you hit the wicket and it busts in half, right? We talked about that already, right? I'm
Yep.
right, Evan?
Yep.
All right. You can fly out. Like just in baseball, the fielder catches the ball in midair.
Yeah, that's called caught out.
That's
But
called what?
caught.
Caught
Like,
out.
to be caught.
Yeah.
Caught.
Oh, caught out. And
Caught
I don't,
out.
They don't
Be
use gloves.
caught.
Do they use gloves? They don't use gloves, do they?
No. We're real men.
No,
And women.
absolutely they are. It's amazing to watch
only,
this. too.
only the wiki has gloves.
Yeah, okay. All right, so the catcher, the wiki's got gloves, but everybody else has got to catch this barehanded. And I'm telling you, I'm holding a ball right now that Evan gave me. You don't want to catch this thing barehanded. I'm
Yeah,
telling you that
they're
right
a
now.
finger buster easily.
No, you don't want to. All right. Then you could be, I guess you could be run out. Okay, the batsman fails to reach the opposite crease before the bail is knocked off the stump.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
And when you hit the other end, your bat actually has to be on the ground as it passes the line.
Oh, yeah.
the crease.
I saw that. Yeah,
You can't just run over it or have your bat in the air.
Yeah.
They'll review it if the bat isn't actually.
It's got to
touching
hit the ground, right?
Yeah.
I love we got Evan here. He's getting into it with me.
Technical.
I love it. All right, you can get stumped. I don't know what the hell that. I guess what's stumped? What's stumped?
That's when the wicket keeper catches the ball if it goes past you, and he then literally touches it into the stumps.
Oh, but he's got to catch it like on the fly or no?
This is going to get technical.
Oh, here we go.
Depending on the speed of the bowler.
Yeah.
If he's a fast bowler, he's going to be standing like 20 feet behind the stump, so he can't do that.
No, he can't get to it fast
He
enough.
can't get to it. But if it's a spin bowl,
Uh-huh.
it's a much slower ball
Oh,
that
all right.
travels slower, maybe like
Yeah.
80 miles.
That's
an
like a curveball, people
Curveball,
in
it's
baseball.
just
It's like
like
a
a curveball,
curveball.
but it bounces on the ground
Yep.
and can go round.
This
and
is
he
all
can grab it
making
and then he
sense to
can
me.
stump him.
It's all coming
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Oh man, you don't want to get stumped. Okay, and then finally my favorite one, which isn't weird at all, people. Stay with me here. It's called leg before wicket, LBW. It's where the ball hits the batsman's leg or body, I guess, preventing it from hitting the stumps. Basically, it's like interference from the batsman, and the umpire rules you out. Right? Like that's
Yeah.
like that's what the bowler's shooting for.
It's exactly because you're basically blocking the ball with your leg.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get.
Yeah.
Like-
Therein lies the snap your legs in half
Yeah.
syndrome. That's what it should be called. Snap your legs in half.
So
Yeah.
then I'm supposed to hit the ball to prevent it from hitting the wickets, but also to get out of the way so I don't get hit by the bowler. So,
There's a lot going on.
okay.
It's very complicated.
All at
I'm-
100 miles an hour.
I'm not
Yes,
gonna be
that's
playing
why I
cricket.
said earlier, the batsman's job is to try not to die. That is literally like this is a man's sport. This is a big deal. People don't understand this. Listen up. All right. Finally, to make this even more complicated, cricket is actually played in 3 different formats. So you sort of got to know which one you're signing up for to watch in the first place, people, because this could get dangerous. So you got Test cricket, which is played over 5 days. Yeah, you heard me right, 5 days with unlimited overs per inning. Then you got 1 day internationals or ODIs. Each team gets 50 overs to bat. And finally, you have T20 cricket. Each team gets 20 overs to bat. T20 cricket is the shortest and by far the most popular format for domestic and international leagues.
All right, I'm going to ask Evan right now.
What?
Evan, what's an over?
So in baseball, you got when the pitcher pitches. In cricket, when the bowler bowls, he bowls 6 times. It's like a set of 6 bowls, and that is an over. So in T20, then you've got 20 overs. 20 times 6, 120 ball.
That's a lot of math. You got that, Amanda?
He explained it very well.
Perfect. So here's how it works for my listeners who don't quite understand. Can you imagine if a batter in baseball came up and only got one pitch, and then he sat back down? That would be the stupidest thing ever. So in baseball, we use balls and strikes. In cricket, they bowl 6 overs to keep the batter up there for a longer period of time. Otherwise, we'd get people going up, going down, going up, going down. Got it?
Yeah, so
Perfect.
that way if they had unlimited overs, it would go on forever.
Forever.
5 days. It's amazing. I mean,
Amazing.
Can you imagine saying, I'm going to go and watch some baseball for 5 days straight? And it's the greatest thing in summer in Australia. Like, you can break and go to the beach, come back, and it's still on.
No,
You have a sleep
be-
for an hour
that'd be terrible.
and wake up, and it's still on. And it just keeps going for 5 days.
What do they call that when you go, like, in Australia, when you go on, like, a hike for, like, 100 days? A roundabout? What do they call that thing?
Walkabout.
A walk. That's like a walkabout. Who wants to go on a walkabout?
I mean, if you love sport and
Wow.
for 5 days straight, that's pretty bloody good.
All right. Hey, I'm getting more cultured and curious, Evan. Good for you. Thank you for teaching me. So last you have the scoring. You score runs in cricket. We talked about that. And they can be scored by either running between the wickets, like running bases in baseball, or hitting boundaries, like home runs in baseballs, except there's 2 ways of doing this in cricket, either a 4 or a 6. A 4 is when you hit the ball so damn hard, but rolls to the boundary without being touched. And a 6 is when it hits over the boundary in the air like an actual home run in baseball. So that's the awesome part of cricket, right? You could score some runs real fast, really awesomely, if you can start smacking balls pretty far.
It's like having 20 home runs in a single game.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It's way better than baseball exciting because people are hitting it to the boundaries all the time. And if you're Evan, you're doing that on your 6 overs, you're probably hitting 6 sixes.
Wait, could
Can
you
you hit 6 sixes?
Can hit
Talk to me.
six sixes.
Have you done it?
Never. No, but you can hit 6 sixes, and you can even get a score higher than 36
How?
if there's a no ball in there. But that's just going to confuse me.
Wait a second. I thought balls were good. We don't no balls. Then you're a eunuch. That's terrible. Who wants to be a eunuch? All right. Anyway, so basically that's the gist. I think the important thing is just to recognize that cricket is like a super strategic game, if you haven't picked up on that, and it requires a ton of teamwork and precision. It's not really just like baseball. It's like if baseball and chess had sex and made a baby sport and they decided to name it cricket. And just like soccer around the world, it is literally a way of life in other countries.
Okay, Peter, so I get it. It is super popular around the world. But I'm going to pass it off to Ev because I feel like he's going to give us a better history
He is.
than the Google
Yeah.
about cricket. So
The
Ev,
Googs.
tell me what you know about cricket.
Well, look, I mean, the Brits invented, and I'm Australian, so being a British colony once upon a time, we love cricket.
But do we like the Brits?
That's not really fair to say.
All right, yeah. We want to keep our listeners. All right, go ahead.
So believe it or not, I mean, a lot of cricket was actually played here in America.
It was.
It was.
That's a fun fact later. Don't give
Oh,
that away.
okay.
Keep going.
I won't. So yeah, cricket is played all over the world, obviously in everywhere the British Empire spread their wings, and particularly in India, it is as big a sport.
So what I'm hearing is that basically if you were colonized by Britain, you probably have cricket.
It's in the blood. If you were
Absolutely.
colonized by England, it's in the
cricket.
blood.
So we're talking like India, Pakistan, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, the West Indies,
All of it.
all of these. Okay.
All of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Powerhouses.
Absolutely.
Not America.
Not America.
There's a lot of culture behind cricket as well, though. Just for as far as cricket goes in Australia,
Did you say backyard? There's backyard cricket.
Yeah.
Is that like Fight Club? We don't talk about Fight Club. Is that like backyard cricket?
Children are involved, but like any family gathering, like Christmas, Easter, barbecue, someone pulls out a bat. Usually, you use the wheelie bin, trash can type thing. I don't know, call it here.
Trash can.
A wheelie bin.
Okay.
The big ones on wheels. And use that as the stumps. And if you hit it out of the garden,
This is interesting. This is
But
like our old version of stickball, like back in the day, and like in the 13 colonies. This is classic. I got a question for you as far as sort of like the 5-day and the 1-day. Is this like, so in football we have tailgating. So everybody goes early, right? They make their brats and their beer and they hang out for like 3 hours before the game even starts, and they go into the stadium and they watch football. Is like an 8-hour cricket match, is that like the same concept where like cultures are coming together, people are chilling out, you're like having fun the whole day, like experiencing the game together? Is it the same idea?
I think.
Or are you just like watching the whole time?
I mean, there are purists that sit there with headphones in, they're listening. But I will be honest with you and say that most people would test so they can sit in the sun all day and drink.
Okay, yeah, that right, exactly.
I mean, there's nothing inside the stadium because you're in it watching.
Yeah, but the idea is that you're enjoying time with it's camaraderie. It's enjoying time with family, friends, like hang. Okay, right. Yeah, it's super culturally significant. Ev, my view of this is one person's view. This is my American view of it. I'm sort of wondering if it comes down to the reason it's a way of life and so popular in other places. Socioeconomically, it's not expensive to play. Like, no. Am I being an entitled American right now, or am I sort of on? I think of soccer. I think of cricket. It's super easy. You could play it on a dirt patch, and with a ball.
The same way that football is played all over the world, cricket is played all over the world.
Right.
All you need 3 stumps, 3 sticks.
Yeah.
Or a willy bin.
Or a willy bin.
Sort of picking up on why it's so prolific all over the world.
Absolutely.
And us as entitled Americans have just our head up our ass a little bit. I'm totally with you. All right. So I'm sort of hoping that with the whole idea of the advances in technology and the whole media coverage thing, that Americans are going to start to care about this a little bit more, and ESPN is going to start to put it on their broadcast network here. Let's go, people. Let's hope.
You guys have the Major League Cricket.
Yeah.
Golf.
I know. Absolutely. Let's go.
Okay, so I'm going to cliff note this for everybody
Let's go. Cliff note this bitch.
to make sure that I got this, but as well as our listeners. Basically, cricket's popularity is because it's been played for over 500 years.
It has.
It's a bunch of different game formats to choose from, and it's evolving in hopes to gain notoriety and media coverage. And everyone from anywhere has a chance to be great at it because all you need is a stick and a ball, or a couple sticks and a bat.
Nice way to sum it up. I like it.
All right, well, I guess it's time for us to put up or shut up and get on the bandwagon if we're going to become a little more sophisticated.
We need to.
So, how do we get Americans to like it?
Well, I thought you'd never ask, but here we are. Welcome to the podcast. Start by trying to take a moment to appreciate a new perspective and care about learning something new, and have enough self-awareness to know that in order to connect with other people, it's important to care about what they care about. Like I said, we have to want to care to learn about other countries' histories. And if we don't, it'll never catch on. Look, here's the problem. First of all, our culture is way too rich and spoiled, which is basically code for like cultural difference. Cricket never got the chance to get in our blood, to embed itself in American culture like baseball or football. With those big sports, there isn't a lot of room for anything else.
Though I would kind of argue that it was kind of the American thing to revolt because,
But I
we're
call
like, nope,
bullshit on that.
no cricket.
Yeah, well, that's... Anyway, second, lack of exposure, right? Because of our cultural differences, cricket gets like zero exposure in mainstream American media. Major sports shows focus on broadcasting American sports. There's no airtime for cricket. I Googled it, and it took me like a minute, and that's like a long time on Google. But I found only one ESPN top 10 play of the week that related to cricket. One. What the fuck, man? Americans aren't learning anything about cricket. Seriously. Terrible. Third, it's pretty complex. And face it, people, Americans aren't that complex.
Wow.
Right?
Guns blazing.
Hey, I'm
Guns a-blazing.
I'm going. Cricket's rules and terminology can be pretty overwhelming for a beginner and certainly unfamiliar to Americans who grew up with different sports. The nuances of cricket, like the different game lengths, the test cricket, the ODIs, the T20, the idea of dismissals instead of outs, the scoring methods, they take way too long for our average American ADD generation to grasp. Am I right?
You're right.
It sucks.
T20, completely different.
It's happening.
happening.
It's on, and it's catching on. And finally, then there's the historical shit, right? Cricket's popularity in the United States actually declined. Evan talked about it a little bit in the late 19th century and early 20th century. It was actually people liked cricket in the United States, mainly due to the rise of baseball as the national pastime. It was a shorter game. And holy shit, I cannot believe I am saying that baseball is a shorter game. Kill me now, because that's already too long for me.
But Pete, I looked it up, and even with all the stuff that you just talked about, there has been some growth in cricket's popularity in the U.S. And maybe it's because the Aussies are all moving here? I don't know. I mean, I know we have Aussie Day, which...
Wait, what? How many Aussies are moving here?
There's a ton of Aussies. It's great.
Right here.
Let's go. That's like
There's
one.
a big-
What are you
there's a-
talking
there's
about?
a big invasion. There's a big invasion.
The Aussie invasion
I love
is
it.
happening.
They're the best. But the U.S. is developing cricket infrastructure
They're
now,
just starting.
right?
Yes, they are.
And initiatives to go ahead and promote the sport. So it's basically a grassroots level.
They're doing it.
movement.
They're starting. It's super slow, but they're trying.
So clearly, you had cricket at your local park. So
Somebody's doing
people
something.
like it.
I think there's still a long way to go. Ev, do you see?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, as an Australian that has come to the United States, I've embraced American sports and fantastic. I will say this about cricket, particularly in T20, because it was only a relatively new sort of foundation of cricket. It's exciting. Like, if you go to a T20 game, you can't not enjoy it. There's so much happening.
They've made it better than baseball. So
Oh, yeah.
So here's what happened, right? Like cricket, boring, American. I don't know. I don't want to watch it. They've now started this T20 in 2007. So catch up, people. It's not that long ago, 15 years ago.
15 years, yeah.
And now it's better than baseball and shorter than baseball. So catch on. Let's go.
But not T20. Like, who are the best countries? I think I heard India, but that's not T20, right?
Well, oh, he's mad. The Aussie's mad.
I mean, we just did win the World Cup, both men's and women's.
Oh,
Cricket.
dang.
I'm gonna roll you through who the best teams are in the world. All right.
But is
That's
this T20?
No, I'm just saying cricket in general.
Okay.
I don't want to get into like which version. Or
Got
whatever.
it.
Like
Okay, okay.
best cricket teams in the world. India. Sorry, I love you, Ev. The juggernaut, the powerhouse, ranked number 1 in the world. Massive fan base, super strong domestic leagues. Shout out to the IPL and a rich cricketing tradition.
Absolutely.
Yes.
They're always the ones to beat. They
Yes.
really are.
Now, I will tell you, number 2 in the world, Evan is right. Number 2, Australia. That's it. It's happening, right? They won the ICC Cricket World Cup, he just said, right? And they are a super aggressive team, super tough to beat. And shout out to the, am I saying this right? Baggy Greens.
I'm sorry, that's
What,
the name.
what does that even mean?
Well, so when you get your first cap for Australia and your first selection for Australia in the test side, they give you cricket cap there, and it is named the baggy green.
Let's go.
So
I love
we're
that.
called the baggy greens.
I love it.
I think we're like getting so sophisticated. This is so great. Okay. Then third is in the world is South Africa, another awesome team. The Proteas. Proteas. Okay. Fourth, Pakistan. Fifth, New Zealand. New Zealand's a Black Caps, not the baggy greens, the Black Caps. Sixth is England, the birthplace of cricket. And they most recently won the ICC Cricket World Cup in 2019 and the T20 in 2022. But they're sixth because they suck now. Do you like beating England?
As an Australian,
What's the best team to beat?
I will say this. I love beating England. There's actually nothing better than watching England, all the English people listening. I'm so sorry. There's nothing better than watching England be beaten by somebody, but
Anybody.
it's almost sweeter than actually be beaten.
That's so with
That's
soccer.
just like-
That's how I am with Brazil.
Oh.
Just whoever plays Brazil, I want Brazil to lose.
It's
Always.
the big brother, little brother complex.
I love it. All right, then we got Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan, 7th, 8th, and 9th, respectively. And finally, rounding out the top 10 is the West Indies.
What technically classifies as the West Indies? Like all of it?
The West Indies? The Caribbean. It's like a group of independent countries like Cuba, Jamaica, Bahamas. Come on, pretty mama. And then Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, come on. It's like all of them down there. The West Indies.
Are they collectively one team?
They are.
But they do play as collectively.
The 15, I don't know, 15, 13, I don't know, number of countries. They collectively play as one team, which makes them probably awesome.
The West Indies were a massive powerhouse
Yeah.
back in the 80s and 90s.
Unfair advantage. They have 15 countries that they get to choose the best cricket players from. I call bullshit on that. It's fucked up. They should have to play by country. Why do they get to play as the
Well,
West
'cause
Indies?
They're
That's
tiny
bullshit.
little islands out there.
I don't think it's fair. I'm just telling you, I don't think it's fair.
I mean,
I think it's brilliant.
how many people are there in America? You guys,
300 million.
exactly. 300 million people.
Yeah.
You guys should have an amazing team.
Because we don't care.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But you
That's
guys-
why
you
we're
guys-
doing the podcast,
Yeah.
Ev.
I get
We're
it.
trying to get people to like cricket.
So because the U.S. could potentially be a powerhouse and we're hosting the tournament,
Well, we're
Like-
only hosting the tournament because of the West Indies. Let's be honest. So
fair,
we're like,
but we're going to have a team, right?
we're having a team.
It's like the
Right.
U.S.
So
team.
the West Indies, here's how it worked. The West Indies are hosting the tournament. They needed America's money and support because we are super awesome to the West Indies and are basically like their big brother. So they sort of said, hey, I have an idea. We're going to host, but you're going to host too. So we sort of got the invite. And now we have a team and we should be able to be awesome, I hope. But that's the only reason we got invited, because the West Indies were hosting.
It'll be very interesting to see what happens. There's a lot of money and investment, though, being put into cricket in America.
Yep.
I mean, you build grounds. They're
We're
hardly any
doing it all.
grounds.
This is why the West. This is the West Indies were pretty smart to like.
Yeah,
Call,
they're
to call
having us-
Big Bro and say, "Hey, I got an idea. Help us out with this."
They're going to have us foot the bill.
They're going to have
Brilliant.
us foot the bill, and they're going to get all this tourism as a result of it, because I think we're only doing 1/3 of the games. So the West Indies are doing 2/3 of the games. Yes, they're going to get a lot of tourism dollar for sure.
Well, speaking of tourism and
Yeah.
going in person to see it, is there like any etiquette that I should be aware of?
Etiquette. Look at you with etiquette. There's a etiquette.
Not for T20.
Oh, come on. All right, let's go. So for the players, not like any of my listeners out there are going to be like players anytime soon, but I'll just run through sort of etiquette for the players. And Evan will keep me honest on this because he's the most famous cricket player of all time. So first in cricket, there's a tradition known as walking, where the batsman voluntarily leaves the field if they know they're out, even if the umpire hasn't given them the out. Not everybody does it, but if you see it, it's a mark of sportsmanship. Am I right?
Yeah, totally correct.
Okay.
If you know, you know, and you just walk.
All right, got it. So don't be surprised, people. Second, players show respect for good plays by their opponents. So don't freak out if they do that. They do also, I guess, they do something called sledge. They sledge each other as well, but we won't get into that here because I'm trying to pretend everybody in cricket is nice.
Been trying to sledge you all podcast.
Okay.
Sledging is part of the game.
All right, so what the hell's sledging then?
Sledging is, so when you're batting, you're concentrating on the ball that's going to come in at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
The guys
And try not to
close-
die.
And try not to die. The guys close to you, like the wicket keeper, maybe a couple of the fielders that are beside you.
Says like I slept with your
They-
wife the other night.
That would be like a mild insult.
I love
It is.
This is
It's
fantastic.
pretty profound.
This is like hey batter with insults. This is the best ever. Okay. All right, I love this. And then finally, I think the last one I got is respect the spirit of cricket. The spirit of cricket is a term used to describe the ethos of fair play, respect, and integrity that underpins the game. Upholding the spirit is considered super important in cricket leagues around the world. Is this true?
Yeah, I mean, look,
Okay.
it should be respected in all sports.
Is it specifically respected in cricket a little more so?
I mean,
Is it more sophisticated?
It is. I mean, but the spirit of all sports. You want to. It's just when it's on the field, it's on the field. When it's off, it's off.
I love it. I love it.
I feel like we should take some notes from that as in all of our American sports. Want to guess what time it is?
What time is it?
Well, it's fun fact time.
Fun facts.
It
Let's go.
is. And I think we should play it a little differently this time.
Right.
We're going to see if we can surprise Evan with any of our fun facts.
Oh, I'll see if I can.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. So after each fun fact, you got to say if you're surprised or not.
Cool.
All right. Here we go. Number 1. Crickets are considered a delicacy and considered good luck. Oh, shit. Wrong cricket.
You're
Not-
so stupid.
Not surprised. Okay, fine. All right. Number 1 for real this time.
Delicious.
Okay. Cricket began as a children's game in a small area in southern England in the 16th century. Don't ask me why. It just was. I don't know why.
Do you know why, Evan?
Because they're bored.
Did you know that one? Or was-
No.
That was new. That was that.
I'm not. No, I have no idea.
All right.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it makes
Absolutely.
sense.
Kids
Makes
invented the
sense.
sport. All right. Number 2, the fastest delivery when the bowler bowls the ball in cricket history was clocked at over 100 miles an hour. And while that might not seem super impressive to all the baseball enthusiasts out there, cricket bowlers, remember, aren't allowed to bend their arm more than 15 degrees. It's a big deal. A really big deal.
I feel like Evan knew that one because he totally said the ball comes at you at over 100 miles an
Yeah.
hour.
Oh, you don't want to face a fast bowler.
No, and if you guys watch it, it looks super awkward. It is flying. It is flying. And these guys, I got to tell you, in my opinion, better than baseball pitchers. If I understand this right, if you change your angle of the bowl, the umpire will pull you off the field. They check, they use imaging, I don't know, freaking computer imaging to figure out if your elbow has moved more than 15 degrees, and they'll pull you out of the game.
Yeah, you can't bend your elbow and chuck
Yeah.
the ball, basically.
Yeah.
But the fast bowlers will run in, I'm trying to do the math, a feet to meters radius. So about 100 feet or 60 yards out, they are sprinting. These guys are 6'5".
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, they run and they
Oh,
huck
yeah.
the ball.
And they huck the ball,
They charge in it.
And they have to have a certain angle of
charge in.
delivery. Yes.
And the angle of delivery, 6'5", the arm goes up. It doesn't bend.
It can't
So
bend.
the fulcrum is at 7 foot, and then they fire a missile.
Yes.
And it bounces in front of you.
Number 1, it's going to break your leg. 2, the wicket keeper's supposed to somehow catch that ball. It's crazy.
I feel like we just had 3 fun facts.
No,
in
that was a lot of fun facts in one. All right. Number 3, the longest recorded cricket match lasted 14 days between England and South Africa.
What?
And
Did
keep
you know
in
that?
mind, did you know that?
14 days?
14. Wait. It gets better. Keep in mind, they stop after 8 hours of play each day. So that's really 45 days, in 8-hour increments. That's how long the longest cricket match lasts.
Wait, are you telling me it was 14 days, meaning it was
It went for 14 days
straight?
consecutively.
No.
Yeah.
It went for 14 days straight.
Yes.
And
it went for
and
45 days.
if you broke it up in 8-hour
Oh, I see,
increments,
I
it would
see.
be 45
Thank you very much.
days.
Yes.
Okay.
The shortest was played between the West Indies and England. All West Indies. It lasted only 10 balls.
Yeah.
I don't know, 4 or
Ball
5
out.
minutes.
Ball out.
Mainly due to field conditions, but they call it a complete game. They actually that was it. It was the game.
No, that was.
But who won?
3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Evan, who won?
I did say the
No,
game.
okay.
I have no clue, dude. I just spit the facts.
Okay.
It was just part of the fun facts. All right. Number 4. Although cricket is the world's second most popular sport, it's not an Olympic sport.
But why not?
So at the Paris Games in 1900, France wanted cricket to be part of the Olympic Games. The problem was there were only 2 teams. England, and France that were willing to participate. Back then it was test cricket, right? So it was like that 5-day cricket. They play one game. UK wins the gold and France wins the silver, and it ends just like that. So they realized it was like way too long of a game to make it an official Olympic sport. But enter T20 in 2007, and I think it's just a matter of time. I'm thinking in the next 8 to 12 years, cricket is in the Olympics and will catapult to one of the main events in the Olympics.
100%.
Absolutely.
I would love to see it.
Yeah,
Is rugby an Olympic sport?
I think it's
Rugby
happening.
sevens is now an Olympic
Sport.
Everything's getting cool. All right. Number 5. The score 111 is considered unlucky.
Do you know why, Evan?
No.
I think, I don't know for sure. It's because when the bails fall off the stumps that are left look like the number 111. And so nobody wants the score of 111. They try to like get by that like really, really fast.
That tracks. I can get on board with that.
Yep. Number 6, willowwood. Willowwood?
Willow.
Seriously? Willowwood is used to make cricket bats. It's used for both its strength and compression. You knew that one?
Yeah, I mean, if someone says to you, "Do you like the sound of willow?"
Really?
That's do you like cricket?
That is so cool. I feel like I'm in like the cool dudes club now. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Finally, believe it or not, cricket used to be, Evan sort of spoiled this one. Cricket used to be one of the most popular sports in the United States in the 1800s. I can't even believe that.
And then baseball.
And then baseball. Absolutely. During the Civil War.
I don't think you'd invented baseball at that stage, which is probably why it was.
So in the right, we hadn't invented it yet.
Exactly.
So the baseball gets invented during the Civil War or around like 1860s. And we sort of just jump on board with that whole concept of baseball being America's pastime because we figured out how to make it short, I guess.
Yep.
And
Did it
and killed cricket.
150 years before
Yeah.
the cricket world.
Yeah, but I think
Caught on.
T20 is going to change all that.
Definitely.
I think we're onto something. I think we got I think it's going to be amazing.
All right, well, there you have it. Cricket in all of its glory. But before we send you out into the world to watch the World Cup of Cricket here in the good old US of A, why don't you break it down for me in little bits that I can remember and become sort of sophisticated?
All right, so here's what you got to do, people. First, re-listen to this episode right before you decide to watch the first cricket match when the World Cup starts. Second, watch a match or two of the Cricket T20 World Cup on TV. Or better yet, grab tickets and go in person. It will be a once-in-a-lifetime event. Trust me, it will be worth your time. Third, when you're at your next boring business function and there's a lull in the convo, ask one of your colleagues what sport they follow most and why. Fourth, listen and ask a few relevant questions to show respect and interest. Fifth, wait for a timely break in the convo and tell them you just went to your first cricket match and explain how awesome it was. Then, finally share these interesting and relevant details to seem sort of sophisticated. Number 1, cricket does not have to be boring. Remember, there are 3 formats: Test cricket, the long one, one-day internationals, one-day events, and the new T20. It's about 2 to 3 hours. So if someone tells you it's long and boring, start educating people. Number 2, it started in England and grew through colonization. The best cricket countries are
Australia.
India, Australia, and New Zealand. Number 3, they don't bowl like idiots on purpose. The rule is they can't bend their arm more than 15 degrees from where they start their bowl. That's why it looks weird. Number 4, an over doesn't refer to the ending of a game, dummies. It refers to the group of 6 balls or deliveries bowled to the batsman and is similar to an at-bat in baseball. And finally, whether you're a fan of cricket or not, if you have any interest in appreciating what other folks enjoy as sport, you need to realize cricket is the second most popular sport in the world, just behind soccer. Get on board, people.
Again, you always keep one fun fact until the end of the podcast.
That's how I roll.
It is the second most popular sport. I love it.
But do you know what else I love? I love the fact that we had Evan here today to give us all of his wisdom on cricket and school us, because we are silly Americans who don't actually understand the sport. But hopefully one day it'll be a big deal.
Let's go. It's a big deal.
Hey, Evan. So thanks so much for being on our podcast and for putting up with us this whole episode. It's not easy, and you're a good sport about it.
Thanks for having me on your podcast.
All right. Well, there you have it, dear listeners. We've bowled our way through another episode and the fascinating world of cricket, from sticky wickets to the art of sledge and everything in between. Whether you're a diehard fan who dreams in sixes and oval boundaries, or someone who just learned that leg before wicket isn't a dance step, we'd like to think we shared just enough information to make you either a flaming nuisance or a bit more sophisticated to your fellow humans. Sort of. And we hope you've had as much fun listening to us as we did trying to figure out why anyone would voluntarily wear white pants in the mud. Remember, cricket might be the only sport where tea breaks are mandatory and the matches can last longer than some people's vacations. Until next time, keep your wickets sticky, your deliveries tricky, and never forget the real sport is when you explain cricket to your closest, confused American friends.
Amen.
Cheers. And if you enjoyed this episode and found it particularly enthralling, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your peeps. Until next time, stay curious and stay inspired.